Good morning, September 24th, 2022. Today I am 68 years old. Um, I just did my little 4 mile thing I did 3 running and I did almost a complete 3 running. And then, I usually take a break every 10 minutes, but this time I only took one 55-second break. And then I did the remaining mile and a tenth or whatever walking. Okay, and I did my weights. Okay, they had a show on IDTV showing, I don't know where it was, it looked like Chicago or somewhere, and they showed back in the 30s that they gave some guy some kind of uh, true, some woman, a prominent woman had been raped and murdered, or he was prominent, I think, but they got him, and he had maybe went out with her, maybe she was a hooker, I don't know. But so he wouldn't confess. He said, "No, I didn't kill the woman," and so they didn't have anything. So they showed that back then that they would put electrodes to his balls. They gave him some kind of sedative drugs and stuff to where he couldn't even remember what was going on. He finally said, "Yeah, I did it," whatever. Okay, so this brings us to Mary Conley. My mom was born in Philadelphia in 1926, August 1st, to Carl Adolf Stelzer and Emma Louise um, Wieland Stelzer. And then she was sent back to Germany because they thought they were going to go back to Germany. And then my grandfather picked her up in 1933. So it had to be after 1933 when she was 6. I believe my mom lived on Theodore Street, or that may have been my Aunt Dolly. But she lived in a brownstone for a while. And they're real narrow houses. And then her brother, the reason they didn't go back to Germany is Uncle Walter was born in like 30, and then Uncle Otto was born in like 33. So my mom was born in 1926, just 2 years later than Eleanor Louise Cal. Okay. And Eleanor Louise Cal had younger sisters. So it's possible that one of the sisters was born 26, the same as my mom. I'm sure they're before my mom worked for the War Department. I don't know what she did. My grandfather worked for the railroad in ball bearings, and he died in the 60s of leukemia from it. But anyway, uh, my mom said that back then, let's assume then she was 6 at 33, so sometime between 33 and say 39, so she would be like 36, she would have been 10. She had to be cognizant. She said from wherever they were, first of all, she said there was a police lieutenant that lived on their street, on this brownstone street, possibly Theodore Street, I don't know. And he chased his wife out, beating her. And my mom said that was such a disgrace. He was in his uniform and he was beating his wife in the street. And she said that was just so disgraceful to everyone. But they had what are called paddy wagons. And I think they were horse drawn, because my grandfather used to talk about getting the horse because he would use it on his gardens. But anyway, that was later. Um, so they lived all together like this. So sometime during the Depression, they moved out to Willow Grove, right off of Johnstown Navy Base. And my mom ended up working for the War Department as a riveter. She was a riveter. We can't do it or whatever, all that. But anyway, she told me, she said they would get these drunken guys, and there was no detox. They didn't know about addictions. So if somebody was publicly drunk, they put them in the paddy wagon, take them down to the station house, which must have been really close to my mom's brownstone. And she said there was a light swinging. Now, this is the most relevant part. There was a light swinging, and they would literally take their billy clubs, and if a guy was rowdy or something, they just beat him across the face and chest and head with the billy clubs to sober them up. That was their detox. If a man was publicly drunk and had to be taken down to their station during the Depression, he basically got beat. So I was thinking about Bundy. Where did they live? I mean, could these tales have come to him? I mean, these men were drunk and they were beaten with billy clubs. What does that sound like? That's his MO. I mean, they didn't beat him to death. They just whack him around the neck and shoulders and head to try. That was their way of sobering the people up. They didn't know any better. I mean, back then, I guess they should have known. I think they had AA starting back then. But my mom said she couldn't believe it. She saw that light swinging. And then eventually, like I said, they went to sort of a semi-farmhouse where they had sheep and Christmas trees. And, you don't want to watch the marathon, man, because it looked kind of like what they lived in. My grandfather was in the Luftwaffe back in Germany. They left Germany about 1920, 24, and they almost didn't let my grandmom in because she had rheumatic fever and it made her have a heart palpitation or something. But she went on to have two sons, Walter and Otto, the Karl Adolf, I guess, Stelzer, and they're all gone now. But I'm saying, there was another incident too with the Queen. My mom was born 1926, the same as the Queen, and at some point, see, they kept having affiliation with Germany before the madmen went in there. Because I think at some point they thought they'd save up their money. They went through a depression after World War One, a massive depression after World War One. So my grandfather's thing, he was a locksmith, and he had something to do with the Luftwaffe. There was also mention of a prima ballerina back in there somewhere. But anyway, my mom didn't come back to America till night. She was born in Philadelphia, but they sent her back. She lived with a grandmom or something until she was 6. She couldn't speak English. She said one time some kids had tied her shoes to the desk, and the teacher said, Inga, get up. Inga, her name was Ingeborg. Get up, do this, do that. And she couldn't tell the teacher, no, my shoes are tied to the table or something, so she was in trouble. They even sent her one of them German-American clubs. I went to one German-American club, the ice water. I know people, God, that their summer is like the frozen water. It's like jumping this frozen water. I said, damn, no. And then my grandmother said the water in Florida is like piss water or something. It was so hot. But anyway, that's another story. But so anyway, the Queen. For some reason, Otto and Walter were on a cross-ocean voyage, and they were in steerage. And the Queen, I think, had turned 16. Now, I don't know if she turned 16 or if it was her birthday or just any birthday. And she said, no, all the children should partake of my cake and celebration, even the ones down in steerage. Now, I don't know why Walter and Otto, where they were going to. I know my grandmother took several trips to and from Germany, but it had to be, I'm going to think, if Walter was born in 30, then he was 11, that would make it 41 or something. And then he had to be in charge of his little brother, who would have only been 7 or 8. So I don't know why. Who were they with? Where were they going? But they were on the same vessel as Queen Elizabeth. And it was her birthday, and she made sure everybody got, birthday stuff. I always thought maybe she was on the vessel because their country was going at war, and it was safe for her to be taken somewhere else for a while. Anyway, these are my stories. Thank you.